Today, I'm going to get into the top things you would need to know about the ketogenic diet versus the carnivore diet. And this subject is really important. So let's Welcome everyone to my humble life. Now let's get into this whole subject of the ketogenic diet versus the carnivore diet. Okay, I've been doing keto for 17 years, and as you know, Paul Saladino made comments in one of these podcast short videos saying that keto was not anti-cancer and keto had issues on top of issues. Now, all of these low-carb diets have issues. Your body gets used to burning glucose or stored glycogen from carbohydrates. Most of us, if not all of us. And then you flip the script and you try to drop out the carbs, and the body's like, wait, what? Where's my stored muscle glycogen from carbohydrates and sugars? When carnivore first came out, when Sean Baker was on the Joe Rogan show and it started to become popular, immediately I said, there's no difference. Keto is carnivore and carnivore is keto. But now it's sort of an ish. They both are ketogenic. You can't do a carnivore diet unless you choose to up those fats and become ketogenic. And for those who have followed me for a very long time, y'all know that you cannot get energy from protein. I mean, you can get energy, but you can't get energy, right? Because you can't restore glycogen from protein, and you can't get into ketosis on protein. So you either are going to burn fat or carbs. This is the problem with carnivore diets. People have been misinformed by a lot of garbage. They do high protein diets, and then a host of problems start happening. In the beginning, people are like, oh my God, I feel amazing, right? Because their inflammation, the initial inflammation goes down. But then, I know, it's weird. First the inflammation goes down, and then they rebound, and they become more inflamed. Perhaps not in the same vein. For example, if you have a sensitivity to certain plants and you cut it out and you feel amazing, you're still going to feel amazing in that regard. But where's your energy? Because you can't store glycogen in your muscle from protein. Carnivore diets are great in the sense it works sort of like a GAPS diet, an elimination diet. Get rid of every single plant that you've become sensitive to, most likely due to a leaking gut, and allow that inflammation to go down. But you have to get into ketosis, or now your adrenal, the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, will be stretched to the limit. Inflammation goes down, inflammation goes up, because now you're in a chronic cortisol state of gluconeogenesis, because you can't get into ketosis. Now you start to feel tired. Before you felt bloated, now you feel tired. And then the stomach starts to bloat again on friggin' meat. I've seen this happen to so many people who cannot get their cortisol down on these carnivore diets and also the ketogenic diets. They feel great at first, but now their inflammation begins to rebound because the gut wall is still nice and open and it's not sealing up. Now your body's reacting to meat when before it was just the plants. And this is something that gurus who push carnivore never talk about. I don't even think they think this way or pay attention to people who are struggling. Carnivore diets are great as an elimination diet for short term. Great. But then you rebound. You need to seal that gut up. You're not going to seal it up just on protein, right? Because again, You have to get into ketosis. You have to up your fat. But you also need prebiotic fiber to stabilize the gut microbiome, because that's what prebiotic fiber does. It stabilizes and velcros to bacteria, keeping it from becoming negative, like a negative cycle of not stabilizing your gut microbiome in the bottom of the small and the top of the large intestine. Now, ketogenic diets have that prebiotic fiber. You have cruciferous vegetables. But then, of course, we have that camp of people who can't do cruciferous vegetables, either for the goitrogenic effect, if you have a thyroid problem, or the fact that they just bloat like a biatch, which is why you would do carnivore. For the short term, a ketogenic style of a carnivore diet, which is very high fat, and allow the gut to take a break from these inflammatory foods that you have developed a reaction to because of a weak gut wall, and then slowly add those plants back in and titrate back up so you can seal up the gut wall, or potentially get some of the nutrients like potassium that is more difficult in a lot of the meats that people are trying to consume. Now, there is potassium. There's different levels of potassium in pork and in chicken and in beef, but they're not in the same amounts. Pork has an ample amount of potassium, and some seafoods have potassium. Yeah. Dialing this in so you know when to do a carnivore diet when you're super inflamed, right? Plaque psoriasis, eczema, skin issues, joint pain, bloated, vegetables in your poop, carnivore all day. Amazing. Yeah, until it's not amazing. The point is to not be on this, I hate to use the word strict, but to cut out all foods and just eat meat. Because again, if you're eating dry hung meat that was processed months ago and your gut wall is weak, you have sort of a seal unseal, right? Because now that bacteria can't stabilize itself onto anything and just stabilize. Or if you add bacteria to the gut, it's not going to stabilize very well because there's no prebiotic fiber in the gut. And then we've got pictures, people, things, places, but we have bacteria, we have enzymes. It's so interesting on how people have a downregulation of diamine oxidase that helps fight histamine. Not that histamine is bad, but you need to have histamine and then get rid of it. And you need diamine oxidase for that. So in the beginning, you might have diamine oxidase production, and then it becomes downregulated without the prebiotic fiber. It's a slippery slope. Carnivore is great for the short term. Keto, in my opinion, if you're going to do low carb, a keto omnivore diet, because carnivore is keto because it should be high fat. The goal is to get into ketosis to keep the inflammation down. Keep the inflammation down. You don't want your hormones to become destabilized by doing carnivore for too long. People overeat the protein and they have problems with uric acid and urea and B12 and iron, and the ferritin levels go through the roof. This is what I see more and more with all the consultations that I do. So you can't go by like one person promoting, oh, this person, they're doing great. That's that one person. That's not you. So you got to be really careful on trending diets. Carnivore is amazing for the short term. Keto provides the prebiotic fiber, but it has the plants. If your gut wall is weak, you have to strengthen the gut wall and then flip over to keto, omnivore. And if you have a gallbladder issue and a hypoglycemic destabilization of your blood sugar, then low carb, high fat would be a very, very short alternative. If your gallbladder's jacked, you got to fix the gallbladder. For me, in my opinion, ketogenic diet is just the superior diet because you can do things like, let's say, coconut oil, which is a great antifungal, and lauric acid is so great for the brain. You're not going to get that in your meat. So with keto omnivore, you have both. You have plants. You can have milk thistle for the liver. You can have lauric acid for the brain. You could have the prebiotic fiber in asparagus. You can have lemons for the citric acid to break down stones in the gallbladder or the kidneys. There is a gnat flying around trying to get into the frame. That's what happens when you live in a camper. I know. So ketogenic diets are always going to be superior. You can eat animal foods. You can have animal fat. That's my dog Deo. As an Amadeo. Amadeo. I fenced 10 acres for my dog to be able to run around. But he's starting to be protective right now, so it was only a buzz. There's no shock. It's very important to know what your body needs. Some people can't do a ketogenic diet because they're reacting to plants. Some people cannot do a carnivore diet because they need the prebiotic fiber. And some people have to do low carb, high fat because their gallbladder's jacked up. And knowing how to go in between the 3 different type of dietary measures is very, very important to know your individual health, because we're just all built different. Our body begins to respond differently. Some people have hypochlorhydria and low stomach acid, and they don't produce enough lipase, or they don't produce enough taurine or glycine to help with breaking down of the fat, so your gallbladder can do its job and you can absorb the fat soluble vitamins. Yeah. Keto superior. Carnivore is great for short-term inflammation. Low carb, high fat is good if you have dysglycemia so bad and a gallbladder issue. But I even have a gallbladder strategy for those who cannot do animal fat, because plant fats, obviously, the long chain triglycerides in plant fat are way less problematic on the gallbladder than from animals. So as you can see, some people try carnivore and they can't do well on it because they've got candida overgrowth, right? They might need oregano oil or oil of oregano. Do you guys really see that keto omnivore is a superior diet for those who have issues? Carnivore doesn't fix everything. I'm sorry you guys are sold a bag of bones. Not true. I mean, the fact that carnivore is like, you got like lint in your belly button, just do carnivore diets. It's like fasting. People are going crazy, cuckoo, crazy, cray-cray on fasting. Then people start burning out their adrenals and the thyroid and their reproductive hormones and pregnenolone steal. And now people don't talk about fasting and OMAD like they used to 5-6 years ago. And carnivore's crash and burning because people are saying that it's okay to not poop, and then people are having a impaction in their colon on the left side because they're not pooping. People are having issues with the thyroid and the hair falling out because they're not in ketosis, eating too much protein. So many people are developing hemochromatosis, high iron, high B12. These are dangerous problems. Uric acid, gout on carnivore. I know. Everyone is different. Be very, very careful on the trends like the sardine diet. It's ridiculous. I hear the dumbest things. Keto versus carnivore? Keto. And if your gallbladder is jacked up, work on the gallbladder. I've got several videos explaining how to do that. And then go back to keto later. Now I hear horses and donkeys and dogs outside, so we got to go check it out. Energy! At 56, I'm like 2 finger snaps from 57, and in 3 years, I will be 60. Keto does a body good. It really does. And I'm out. Because things like hormones, and don't get on the HRTs and mend the TRT. You don't need any of that garbage. Don't listen to these people lie saying it's okay. But that's a whole nother video. If you guys feel like you're stuck, you can book a consultation at stephanieperson.com. I consulted over 10,000 people over the years. I've been on the internet forever. I got this. And just use common sense, my people. If you ain't pooping, you're not using up all the protein, you're dehydrated. It's not good. I know. I also have a course where I cover all 3 diets, because one is not enough for you guys to glide around. That's my air conditioning. That's the signal to get the frack out of here. And I'm out. Yeah, life is good.